I don't like to indulge in my own writings. I know them by heart, but Jonathan insisted we keep them. Later. I need time to think. If James died in that fire, then what happened to his remains? He was never properly buried, and that is Jack's fault. A magnificent cathedral, but I would have been more than content with the old one, had it not been burned to the ground. No, I'll take a walk around the cathedral instead. Hello? I thought I saw someone. That came from the kitchen.
Oh, it's you.
You startled me.
I thought I heard something. Was that you?
No, but I heard it too. Maybe Aliena came back.
No, she's asleep. She returned a few hours ago. Damn it.
Jack.
Sorry. There's someone in the kitchen.
Yes, I think you're right.
Stay behind me. I'll go ahead. There's someone in here.
Outlaws. They are probably just after food. I will talk to them.
All right.
He's alone. There must have been others. Most of the food is gone.
We will not harm you. Do you hear me?
Ah! Why did you do that, you animal? I will get the others.
No!
What?
He's just a child.
Just a child. Jack forgave the child, just like that. And I forgave him. For that was what he had been when he arrived in Kingsbridge. Just a child. Who was I to judge this man for not confessing earlier what he had done? I had never told his wife, Aliena, that I was responsible for her fate, and for her father's. Even that night, when we all met, I did not dare to tell her.
The walls of Kingsbridge weren't enough anymore. The outlaws had found a way in. We weren't safe in our homes.
So this is what it has come to. Kingsbridge is under attack.
Why didn't Uncle Richard chase them away?
Why?
Now, do not exaggerate. This is not a siege.
We only saw 2 of them, and one of them was a child.
But they almost killed you.
They were just looking for food. They didn't mean any harm.
It's the drought. It destroyed all the crops. They must eat something.
Desperate or not, they're only the vanguard of a full-scale invasion.
If we had a decent Earl, the people wouldn't be starving.
It is all too easy to blame a desperate child. Forgiveness is much harder.
It is.
But forgive we must.
Can you? Forgive, I mean.
I already have.
Hamley is the reason for this. He's to blame. It's that simple.
Well, he won't be Earl for long. The Treaty of Wallingford has been signed at last. It's only a matter of time until things change.
What treaty? Winchester is in turmoil about this right now. Stephen and Maud have signed the treaty. Maud's son, Duke Henry, is to be crowned the next king.
And, by agreement, all lands are to be returned to their previous owners.
But Stephen will continue to rule as long as he lives.
The earldom will be ours again.
It will not.
Why the bloody hell not?
Bloody hell.
Language?
No one will enforce this until Stephen is dead.
What is to be done then?
We have to stay strong, steadfast. We only have to wait until Hamley is stripped of power, right?
That would take too long. Many more will starve or die by his sword.
Well, if they're hungry, can't we just give them something to eat? I'll share.
We should, and we will, but there are too many to feed them all.
We must do something.
Well, I cannot sit quietly and wait until Stephen dies of old age. The Treaty of Wallingford is in place. I won't wait for another 17 years. Not when I'm so close to fulfilling the promise I made to my father.
You're right, but it wasn't William Hamley who came here last night. It's the outlaws we need to worry about.
Well, what do we do about it?
They too are victims. We must show compassion. If we defend Kingsbridge, we must cause as little harm as possible, or better, help as many as possible.
Things will only get worse if we don't find a way to deal with Hamley.
What about his mother? I've heard that Hamley still listens to her, that she still has a say in Earl's Castle.
Yes, let's tell his mother.
If we spoke to Regan Hamley, we might not need a physical confrontation at all.
That'll never work. We have to assault them and take back our father's castle. Even if that means fighting alongside the outlaws.
I don't like either choice, to be honest.
Neither do I. So, what do you think, Aliena?
I will talk to the outlaws. Maybe we can find someone who can speak on their behalf. And if there's no one, then we will.
I'll ride with you.
You won't, Cub. Not with that leg of yours.
Your mother is right. Besides, if we all turn up, they might think we mean them harm.
Our hopes of meeting allies on the road to Shiring were fading with every mile. The only people we saw were sitting by the side of the road, broken and starving. Shiring was riddled with death and despair. I'd heard that Wigley had just been raided by outlaws, leaving them almost entirely without cattle. Maybe someone there knew where the raiders had come from. But Calford, on the other hand, had a recent falling out with William Hamley. There was a chance that they would be quick to join our resistance. As we reached Wigley, we met a farmer tending to a scrawny chicken. She told us that Hamley had claimed ownership of all their cattle. Shortly after that, the cattle vanished. Raiders had taken it, throwing William Hamley into a fit of rage. Some say they recognized the thieves, neighbors who had once lived among them. They were long believed to be among the dead. Were we really building our hopes on a pack of ghosts? We entered the village. There was a weary young man trying to repair a roof. He pointed toward a ruined mill. Hamley's mill, he called it, which used to have the right to grind all grain from the nearby villages. That was until a few days ago. Hamley had come to collect his share and, due to the famine, was met with empty coffers. Enraged, he'd killed the miller and had taken every last bag of flour belonging to the starving people of Calford. Many had fled into the forest, desperate for their lives. The fields of Huntley spurred fond memories. Here, I'd negotiated my first deal to transport and sell the farmer's wool. Now, the meadows had turned to straw, and the sheep were dead. Soon, we reached Uncle Simon's abandoned hut. Our horses needed rest, so we wanted to leave them there while we looked around on foot. Then, I remembered how Richard had been kicked by the man William had paid to catch us, and the horrible sounds he'd made lying there. I asked him where he got bread in times like these. Was it stolen? No, I got it from the butcher. The people at Sally's quarry told me to ask the butcher, he blurted out, startled by his own voice. Mistaking our interest for greed, he wolfed down the rest of the bread. Before we could ask more, the frightened man jumped up and fled into the forest. The butcher. Was he the one we were looking for? A leader whom the downtrodden trusted and feared? Maybe we could find him at the quarry the man had mentioned. The abandoned quarry was teeming with activity. Many poor souls were gathering around a fireplace, boiling a stew from meat and turnips. It was plain to see that these people weren't held together by blood or profession, but by hunger and desperation. And by their numbers, I thought, that could make them quite dangerous. Were these outlaws? We walked slowly towards them. I sensed that Richard was ready to draw his sword. The first one to notice us was a little girl. Swiftly pointing a finger at us, "Who are they?" she asked the others. All eyes darted towards us. Their reactions were as varied as their faces. Some looked afraid, curious, and confused. Others were full of hatred and contempt. "We're not here to hurt you," I explained. "We just want to talk." "Where can I find the butcher?" I asked. Their faces expressed anger and fear. I explained that we were looking for food. They told us that the butcher was still in Monksfield, but that meat would come every couple of days. I said that wouldn't be a problem, not knowing what they meant. It looked like our path would lead us back to Monksfield. Thank you for giving me and my friend shelter the other day.
Weather's fine now, so what do you want this time?
We're looking for the butcher.
The butcher of Monksfield has long since moved away.
Damn, I can't believe it.
No need for cursing, young man. If you bring me an animal, I can prepare it for you.
Do people call you the butcher then?
Why'd you ask? What do you want?
Do you have a lot of outlaws passing by?
You don't see it in their faces, dear. But we all have been failed by the law and our leaders. Don't you agree?
I asked because we feel the same way. And we're looking for a way to make things right again.
Is that so?
We're looking to build an army, to invade Earl's castle and kill Earl William Hamley.
Oh my. If it was that easy, someone would have done that a long time ago. The poor souls I meet, they're just simple people. They're not an army.
One of their own should lead them. Like you. You seem to take great care of your people.
In their condition, most of them can barely kill a chicken, let alone a man. These people are mothers, fathers, hard workers, yes, but they are not soldiers.
Right.
She speaks true.
It is the best chance we have. This is a battle for the sake of the people of Shiring, for all of us.
It's rubbish. It's what it is.
We are offering you a chance to rid the land of Hamley, to fight for your freedom.
The last time I saw you, you showed kindness toward that young woman who was with you. I am willing to listen to a good soul, but I won't help you blindly.
That woman that was here, that you helped, that was Hamley's wife. His wife, by God. How stupid do you think we are?
Right, it's a trap.
Well, how can these people put their life at risk if they do not trust you? You are not like us.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what it's like to live in poverty.
And just like you, we had William Hamley to thank for it.
But I also know that if one fights the right battles, that things can change for the better.
But they're starving, my child. They are weakened by poverty, hunger, and illness. Who are you to think you can face William Hamley?
Yeah.
You! Who do you think you are?
We are the children of Bartholomew, Earl of Shiring.
Our father once ruled with a firm but benevolent hand. You must remember how good you had it.
Well, better than now, but that's easy.
He did have guts, though, trying to take on Stephen.
So, you are his daughter and son, you say?
Yes, all we know we learned from him.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if we work together, Hamley is too powerful.
You ask us to sacrifice our lives for your noble cause, these people will die.
We too will make the same sacrifices. I only ask of you what I myself am willing to give. If anything happens to you, it will also happen to me.
You have noble principles, I see.
Yeah.
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 I said it before. We all have lost everything, except for our lives. we don't fight other people's battles.
But maybe this is our battle too.
My people will decide for themselves. But I will tell them that I believe that it is indeed a battle worth fighting.
I thank you.
I pray that it will be worth it.
We will all pray, and then we fight.
And so, after 17 years, I finally returned to the place I'd once called home. There was a small army of famished outlaws hiding in the surrounding woods, waiting for my signal to attack. Led by my vengeful brother, Richard. But I had to be sure that Elizabeth was safe. The poor girl who in my stead had been doomed to become William Hamley's wife.
Get in line and stay in line. You'll all get your chance to pay your dues to Lord Hamley, you hear? So no pushing.
Why does Lord Hamley need all that food?
Are you all right?
What do you think? Of course I'm all right. I'm more all right than anyone else in this crowd. Just because Lord Hamley insists on women to deliver the tributes, don't mean you have to send your youngest and prettiest. Fools.
Calm yourself. I'll make sure that nothing will happen to you.
They took a woman in my town. She never came back.
Nothing will happen to you if you just remain calm.
Patience, patience. Everyone will get a chance to pay their dues to Lord Hamley.
I'm just a shepherd's daughter. I have no business here.
Are you all right?
What do you think? I'm more all right just because...
Have you been here often? Do you know Lord Hamley's wife, Elizabeth?
That man's had so many women. Having a wife sounds like a bad joke.
But do you know her?
I don't, and I don't care to either.
I want to go home.
Oi, you there. Yes, I meant you. That's a pretty face you got there. You're coming with me.
What? Leave her. Take me instead.
Well, whatever. You'll walk to the other side of the yard and talk to Walter. You'll get you settled. And don't you dare stray from the path.
Are you done yet?
Almost. Let me just see if I took enough. What are you doing here? You need to leave. Don't come any closer. William has me watched.
What's taking so long?
I forgot the pork. I'll be out shortly. Wait a moment, then follow me. We don't have much time. Hugh will look for me any moment now. So why did you come?
I'm waiting!
We don't have much time.
There's an army of outlaws hiding in the woods waiting for my signal. You need to be out of the way when they come.
But I mustn't leave.
They're very angry at your husband's family, and I want you to be safe.
Will people die?
Yes, people will die. That's why you have to come with me.
I can't. Not without Lady Regan. You need to save Lady Regan first.
I will, if you agree to leave right now.
Is that a promise?
It is.
All right, I will try to sneak off then.
Hurry up in there! Or do you want me to come in and pull you out?
I need to go. Maybe Walter can take you to Lady Regan.
Walter? William's dog?
Don't call him that. He's not as bad as people say he is. William won't allow me to talk to him anymore. Now Lady Regan is all I have left. Please, please be careful.
I will. Thank the Lord she made it through. Now, I have to find Regan Hamley. Elizabeth claims you aren't such a bad person after all.
Am I not? Have you forgotten that I killed your family steward?
You got problems over there, Walter?
I need to talk to the Lady Hamley. I want you to take me to her.
You've got guts, I'll give you that. But why should I listen to you?
Have a heart.
So, you think I'm a nice bloke? And you think Lady Hamley really cares for someone like you? Don't make me laugh. Hugh!
What?
I promise, once my family is back in charge, things will get better for everyone. Or do you really not care for all the starving people?
I don't believe you. But it's not up to me to judge these things. I'll take you to Lady Hamley. She'll decide. My lady?
Elizabeth.
She's not here, but there's someone else to see you. The Lady Aliena of Shiring.
The Lady Aliena. When did that bitch become nobility again?
I'm sorry for intruding, but this is very important.
Important? As if anything you have to say could be of any importance to me.
I'm certain you've heard about the treaty the king made with Duke Henry at Wallingford Castle.
I have. I have also heard that it's a muddled mess.
It is a complicated deal indeed, but one that will end the war. And one that makes my family the rightful owners of this earldom once more.
Only by word. There's no one who would come to enforce this, not even the king.
Don't you see what your son is doing to the land? Soon there won't be an earldom left to rule for anyone.
That's a lie. My William is a better earl than your father ever was. To think that I once wanted to marry my good William into a family like yours. Not a day goes by when I am not glad that God saved us from that horrible fate. And that he sent that monk to Bishop Waleran to unveil your father's evil plan.
What monk?
That prior of Kingsbridge. Philip of Gwynedd.
What?
Where is my Elizabeth? Why is she not here?
I promised your son's wife that I'd make certain you'd be safe.
Safe from what? From a pack of impotent monks?
I have an army outside the gates, ready to attack.
What?
Get Elizabeth. I want her at my side when the fighting starts.
She's gone.
Gone? What do you mean? Gone where?
I told her to leave Earl's Castle. She suffered enough under your son.
William didn't lay a finger on her.
He did. More than once, milady.
That is a lie.
It's up to you if this ends in a bloodbath or not.
Oh!
It's all up to you.
In the name of the true Earl of Shiring, make them suffer!
They're coming.
Mother, we're being attacked.
What's going on here? What's that bitch doing here?
She's trying to bargain.
She's trying to take everything.
Is she? Is she now?
Leave it.
Shut up, old man. Cut that whore up, Walter!
No. You brought this on yourself.
You bloody traitor! Someone get up here! Men! You will pay. You will all pay for this.
Now, we tell his men.
Stop! Stop fighting! Drop your weapons immediately!
Behold the banner of the new Earl of Shiring!
Everyone, listen! Lord Hamley is dead! The castle now belongs to the former Earl's family again.
What? You're shitting us!
It was the King's wish.
Who killed him?
He died because he refused to hand over Earl's Castle peacefully.
He died by my hand. My name is Lady Aliena of Shiring. I'm the daughter of Bartholomew, the former Earl of these lands. I've been tasked to end the tyranny of William Hamley and restore order to Shiring.
Our occupation of Shiring has been made unlawful. Every attack on us is sanctioned by the King of the English.
So what will happen to us then?
I shall tell the king that William Hamley forced you to do his bidding. That every atrocity done to the people of Shiring was his doing and his alone.
You will get your chance for redemption by helping the people of Shiring recover from your own cruelty. And by rebuilding their homes and tending to their fields.
Ali, I know that you're a much better leader than I. Without you, we would never have come this far. You never hesitated with swearing and fulfilling the oath to father. In the end, I will be the Earl in name only, but you shall be the true ruler of Shiring.
Don't say that. We'll do it together.
Let's discuss this later. I owe you a lot, Ali. The tyranny of William Hamley is over! The Earldom of Shiring belongs to its rightful heir. Send a messenger to Kingsbridge to let Prior Philip know that Shiring is finally free!
What is it? Why are they laughing?
You can send a messenger if you want. But there won't be much of a Prior left when he arrives.
Ali, what's going on?
The Pope believes we should either burn him or make him Bishop of Kingsbridge.
I have already taken matters into my own hands. My men arrested him while Kingsbridge was left unguarded.
While his friends took Earl's Castle?
Yes.
At least in his death, William Hamley was of use to you.
Look at all these people. Seems like they're enjoying themselves.
They never change. You drooling dogs should be ashamed!
Shut up, you old hag! Ellen?
I'm not feeling well.
I'll take care of you. You two go ahead. Hurry up!
Is your mother ill?
It's not that. This is where they hanged my father.
The trial begins. The judges, brother of Stephen, King of the English, the Right Reverend Bishop Henry of Winchester, Her Highness, the Countess Lady Aliena of Shiring, presiding over the trial, the Right Reverend Bishop of Shiring and Kingsbridge, Waileron Bygod.
Please. The Church is not without fault. We have gathered here today before the eyes of God to accuse one of our own. He wrote in his book that the Church and the papacy are not necessary as intercessors between God and man. That God is in man, that all men are equal, and that each sinner is as close to our Lord as the Pope himself. Now, we ask God for his judgment. For his is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. Not ours, and not yours. You stand accused of heresy. Philip of Gwynedd, how do you plead? Answer!
Prior, respond to Bishop Waleran.
I am not guilty.
Your teachings speak another language. Guilty, I say.
I am deeply saddened. It may come as a surprise to you, but we had hoped to make you Bishop of Kingsbridge. Why has it come to this, Philip?
In part, I am to blame. I supported Philip in his early years. I demand that Philip be removed from his position of prior immediately.
No!
And that he remain in captivity until such time that Shiring and all of England have healed from the poisonous words he has dispersed.
No!
What? Yes?
In what way exactly are Philip's teachings heretical?
Philip of Gwynedd has said that each of us is in part of a godly nature, for God has made us in his image. Therefore, he claims that none of us, not he, not the bishops, not even the Pope, is closer to God than any other man or woman.
Heresy! Christ made his apostle Peter his first pope. He and us, his church, hold the keys of the kingdom of heaven.
Yes! The Bible also tells us, let a man be known by his actions. Philip made Kingsbridge into a prosperous place for its people and for the church you claim he disrespects.
That is true, Lady Aliena.
Yes. Let a man be known by his actions. Call in Remigius.
The Prior of Shiring, Father Remigius.
My bishop.
Tell the court, Remigius, what you have told me.
For many years, I served as sub-prior of Kingsbridge. First for Prior James, then for the accused.
What was your first impression of him?
I was offended by his bluntness and accusations during the chapter discussions.
What else?
Prior Philip did not hesitate to give refuge to the people fleeing Earl's Castle in the winter that our king died.
Is that not a good deed? A true Christian act?
You do not know him as well as you think you do, Lady Aliena. Today, that will change.
The future master builder of our cathedral and his woman were among those taking refuge. They were living in sin. They were unmarried and fornicating. Philip allowed them to stay.
Why would he do that?
I do not know, my bishop.
Maybe because he himself was involved in similar affairs. We will see.
Then, on the day of our first fleece fair, we were attacked.
I heard. It was terrible.
I tried to soothe the woman's pain by reading the scripture to her. The builder's woman I have spoken of tried to put a spell on her with poisonous herbs.
And Philip intervened?
Yes. He pushed me aside and gave the woman poison.
It is worse than I thought.
It was no poison.
And then there was the day the Virgin Mary's statue arrived in Kingsbridge. I did not believe it was a miracle.
Clearly it is a miracle. I hear of many who were healed in Kingsbridge.
Yes! Amen! Oh, Mary, bless us all!
Well, I soon realized it was a true miracle, but Philip did not. He was only after the money people donated at the Virgin's shrine. That is why I left.
He had to! Amen.
I believe there is one more thing you have not told us about. Something very important.
Yes. Philip has fathered a child!
Unbelievable! I knew it!
A son. And he raised him in the priory.
He is guilty!
Jonathan of Kingsbridge, step forward.
This is preposterous.
Is it?
Is this true? Are you Philip's son? Answer the question, Jonathan of Kingsbridge.
Philip has always been like a father to me. But he is not my father.
How do you know that?
He told me.
And how do you know he spoke the truth?
Speak!
Philip would never lie. He told me that I was found in the woods.
In the woods? Is this true, Philip? Or are you lying? Well?
My brother found him.
Your brother? The brother whose master you betrayed?
What are you talking about?
Philip tried to involve me in a conspiracy against his brother's master, Earl Robert of Gloucester. And his ally, Earl Bartholomew, your father, Lady Aliena. Philip took in all those refugees years ago because he was to blame for their fate, as he was for yours when you lost your father and your earldom. That, Lady Aliena, is the man you are trying to protect. Well?
I know that he is a troubled man. We've all had to make hard decisions. Decisions that seemed right at the time, when indeed they were terrible mistakes. I am thankful that I was forgiven when I made a mistake. Now I forgive him. Let us now return to the problem at hand. There is a man who witnessed how Jonathan was found in the forest. A man who can shed light on who Jonathan's father really is.
And who is that?
My husband.
Step forward. What is your name?
He is the master builder of Kingsbridge.
Have you lost your courage?
No, I have not. You know well why it would be hard for me to face you. They call me Jack, after my father. My name is Jack Jackson.
Yes, we have met before.
How old were you when you allegedly saw Jonathan as a child in the woods?
12. But I know what I saw. Philip told the truth.
You were a child. And what were you doing there, in the woods?
I was living in the forest, with my mother.
They were outlaws.
Prior Remigius is the most trustworthy witness we've seen today, and his statement was quite damning to Philip. The distant memories of an outlawed child cannot convince me otherwise.
He fathered a child!
Let him go!
He would never do that!
And yet, Lady Aliena is right. We do not know enough to judge him as harshly as you proposed, Bishop Waleran.
You are right, Bishop Henry. As I said, it is not up to us to judge this man. Philip of Gwynedd has pleaded innocent, but how innocent is he? We ask God for his judgment. As Bishop of Kingsbridge and Shiring, I demand an ordeal by fire.
This is madness!
Philip of Gwynedd will be tried and judged at the stake. If he is innocent, God will save him from the flames. If he is not, then he will burn as the heretic and sinner God has declared him to be.
No! Waleran, by God! Not this time.
It's her.
I saw the child and Francis. I was there. Philip is not the child's father. He is a fool, but he is a good man.
Then, who is the father?
It is me.
They are all in this together. This woman is a witch and an outlaw, living in sin with a thief. He was hanged in Shiring 30 years ago.
He was not a thief. He was a good man. You've murdered him, Waleran, by God.
What is this nonsense?
He was a thief. He stole a golden chalice and melted it down and sold it.
What chalice?
The chalice of the Eucharist. He stole it from the Cathedral of Kingsbridge.
Sacrilege.
Yes, Prior James of Kingsbridge caught him red-handed.
Is that the chalice? You said it was melted down and sold.
Fall not for their lies. That could be any chalice. This does not prove a thing.
Where did you find this chalice?
In a secret chamber. We believe Prior James hid it because he felt guilty for falsely accusing Jack's father.
What proof do you have?
He told me. The night the cathedral burned down, I was there, I saw him.
Prior James died weeks before that.
No, he did not.
Bishop Henry, he speaks the truth.
Order! I will give you until sunset to produce a witness who can prove your accusations against Bishop Waleran. Not just this chalice. If you fail to do this, I will make sure you are tried for defamation. Philip of Gwynedd, you will stay under arrest. The trial recommences at sunset.
We need a witness.
What are you doing there?
I've seen you draw up plans for a cathedral. Maybe we can do something similar to find our witness. Let's see. Your father.
He looks just like you.
My grandmother said he did.
And Bishop Waleran. What are the connections? Maybe By exploring them, we can find a witness.
Good idea.
Jack's father. If he was still with us, he could be our witness.
Maybe he still can.
Bishop Waleran is at the center of all this.
Mother says Waleran was behind my father's death.
And she said he wasn't alone. There were 3 men responsible for your father's death. Bishop Waleran, Percy Hamley, back then he was the Sheriff of Shiring, and Prior James of Kingsbridge.
If they were all there, then they were all witnesses.
And only Waleran's still alive.
Hardly a coincidence. Why would these 3 men work together to falsely accuse your father?
He was on the White Ship. No one survived that night. No one lived to tell the story.
Yes. He was the sole survivor.
And then they killed him. But why?
My father wanted to go to England. He was the only one who made it when the White Ship sank.
Why would Waleran, Percy, and James be concerned about the White Ship?
The son and heir of King Henry was on board. So were other possible heirs and other members of the royal household. I heard that Stephen was supposed to be on the ship as well, but became ill. He was the only male heir. The only threats were the king's daughter Maud and her half-brother Earl Robert, and they've been at war ever since.
And your father, Earl Bartholomew. He was a threat. He tried to stop Stephen and paid for that with his life. Maybe my father saw something on the White Ship. Proof that Stephen was involved.
What about the king?
If the White Ship is involved, then it's likely that Waleran was told by King Stephen to murder your father.
But he was not king back then. Why would Waleran listen to him?
He was promised to become bishop.
Of course.
Remember, Bishop Henry is Stephen's brother, and back then he was already one of the most influential clerics in all of England.
But if Bishop Henry is in on all this, what chance do we have to turn this trial around?
It is a public trial. All we want is for Philip to go free. We find a witness to expose Waleran. Henry would have to play along to appear innocent.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
It's our best shot.
Do you think the king told James to arrest my father?
No. I find it much more likely that James was instructed to frame your father by Waleran, his superior. As Archdeacon, Waleran was much more involved in politics than James would have been. Percy Hamley was poisoned.
One less witness that knew about Waleran.
And Waleran probably wanted William to become Earl. He was easier to control than his father.
What about Regan Hamley? She survived.
She was taken to her townhouse in Winchester. And in her condition, she might not be able to help at all.
Now, what about Prior James? It is unlikely Prior James ever met the king.
So, what about Prior James and Waleran?
Waleran was not yet bishop when the hanging took place. He was archdeacon. Philip told me.
But James still had to do what Waleran told him to?
I think that's very likely. how are Prior James and Percy Hamley connected?
Not at all, I would guess.
Except through Bishop Waleran.
Yes. He needed James to arrest my father and Percy Hamley to hang him.
Now both of them are dead. That can't be a coincidence. And what about the ship? William Hamley's father.
Waleran, Percy, and James might have been working for those who sunk the White Ship.
If Stephen was responsible for the sinking of the White Ship, then he may have wanted the only witness of what really happened to disappear.
But he wouldn't have done it himself, of course.
No. The three people who murdered my father might have worked for someone else. Someone who had an interest in drowning the king's heirs.
Stephen always claimed that it had been God's will that he was not on that ship. That he remained as the only male heir.
That wasn't God. I bet Stephen had a hand in the sinking of the ship.
Now imagine what would have happened if he had learned that someone survived. Someone who might have seen what really happened that night. If the king is behind all this, what chance do we have to stop Waleran and save Philip?
We must do our best. Percy Hamley was the sheriff of Shiring. Well, he could have ordered your father to be hanged.
But he was arrested and held in Kingsbridge first. Prior James claimed that my father had committed theft.
Is King Stephen behind all this? Then what about his brother, Bishop Henry?
It's possible that King Stephen asked Waleran to kill Jack's father. If Stephen is involved, then his brother Bishop Henry would be as well. It's possible that
Hardly a coincidence that the king's heirs all died on that ship. Maybe my father knew what happened. James was the prior of Kingsbridge.
That's where they say your father stole the chalice, melted it and sold it.
But we know that's not true.
As we found it, Philip recognized the chalice.
But Bishop Henry wants a witness. The chalice isn't enough.
But it's an important lead for us. I think we're getting closer. Philip said that Prior James was an honest man, so perhaps Waleran forced him to falsely accuse your father.
Maybe.
That might explain why James was guilt-ridden. The monks still tell the stories about how James thought the devil was after him.
James claimed that your father had stolen the chalice and sold it. But instead, James himself hid it in Kingsbridge, in the crypt.
We found his scourge in a bed down there.
That secret chamber is important. Why was the chalice hidden? And by whom?
You said Prior James was full of regret. He probably couldn't just destroy the chalice. Not even after he used it to frame your father. It was the chalice of the Eucharist, after all. And a token for what he did. Do you think Waleran knew about the hidden chamber?
No. If he had known, then he wouldn't have been that surprised when he saw the chalice. Everyone thought Prior James was dead, that he broke into the ice. And now we know he was hidden away.
Why did his monks believe he was dead?
Sub-Prior Remigius told everyone he had found James' rosary by the river. So everyone thought the body had been washed away. They buried an empty casket.
But how is Remigius involved?
Philip told me that Remigius was there when Waleran made Philip prior. Waleran and Remigius knew each other.
That explains why Waleran later made Remigius prior of Shiring.
And Remigius recognized my mother when we arrived in Kingsbridge. He must have been there at the time my father was arrested. I think Remigius knows all about this.
Is it possible that Waleran told Remigius to make Prior James disappear when James began to talk about what they'd done?
When James started talking to the devil.
But for some reason, Remigius hid him away. But Waleran never knew. Yes, that explains why he really didn't believe you. When you said you had seen James in the fire.
Where James died after all. And Remigius thought no one knew.
We have to find Remigius. He's our witness.
Let's hurry. It's getting dark already. The trial will continue soon.
People know you two. You shouldn't walk around shiring like that.
He's right.
I'll go look for him.
All right. Take care of yourself. And Jonathan.
Yes?
We will talk later about what was said today. About Tom.
All right. Remigius, now where are you?